Welcome to Celestial Estates, the premier purveyor of planetary acquisitions in the Outer Rim. I'm Kael, Senior Acquisition Specialist. How may I assist you today? Are you looking for a vacation world, investment property, perhaps a private system for your family's legacy?
I need a planet, one that can support 40 million lives.
40 million? That's quite a specific number. Most of our clients look for worlds that could theoretically support populations, but rarely do they arrive with exact figures. May I ask what type of colonization project you're planning?
Not colonization, relocation. My name is Thamora. I represent the Thamora Collective. Our homeworld was destroyed 6 months ago when our sun went supernova. We've been living on emergency generation ships since then. Our resources are nearly depleted.
I'm very sorry for your loss. That's a tragedy beyond measure. But I must be honest with you. A world capable of supporting 40 million individuals would cost somewhere in the range of 800 billion credits. The infrastructure alone would require decades to establish. Do you have access to those kinds of resources?
We have 73 million credits. It's everything we've managed to salvage. All the wealth of an entire civilization reduced to a number that I can see disappoints you.
73 million wouldn't even cover the survey costs for a Class M world. I don't mean to be insensitive, but perhaps you should be speaking with refugee organizations. The Galactic Relocation Bureau handles cases like yours. They have protocols for displaced populations.
We've tried them. Every agency, every organization, every governmental body that claims to help refugees. Do you know what they all say?
What do they say?
They say we're too dangerous. They say our biology makes us incompatible with refugee resettlement programs. They say we're welcome to apply for scattered immigration, 5,000 individuals per sector, spread across 200 worlds. But we cannot stay together as a people.
I don't understand. Why would your biology matter? What makes you dangerous?
We adapt. It's our species' greatest survival trait and our ultimate curse. Place a Thamora in any environment, extreme heat, crushing cold, toxic atmospheres, underwater trenches, and within days, our bodies begin to change. We evolve in real time to match our surroundings.
That sounds like an incredible advantage. Why would anyone consider that dangerous?
Because we don't just adapt to environments, we transform them. Our bodies release enzymes, alter atmospheric compositions, modify soil chemistry. It's not intentional, it's biological, automatic. Within weeks of Thamora settlement, local ecosystems begin shifting to accommodate us. Within months, the entire biosphere starts to reflect our presence.
You're saying you terraform involuntarily?
Terraform implies intention, implies control. We have neither. It's more like contamination, except we're not a disease. We're just trying to survive. But every world we touch becomes inhospitable to its original inhabitants. Every ecosystem we enter eventually collapses under the weight of our adaptation.
And that's why no one will take you in?
Precisely. We've been quarantined in space for 6 months, 40 million people living in ships designed for temporary evacuation. Our children are growing up in metal corridors. Our elderly are dying without ever feeling soil beneath their feet again. And every agency tells us the same thing. We're too much of a risk.
I wish I could help, but even if I could find you a world within your budget, which I can't, no planetary government would approve the sale. The environmental impact assessment alone would trigger every protective regulation in the Galactic Charter.
What if the world was already dead?
Dead?
Lifeless, barren, a planet where our transformation wouldn't destroy anything because there's nothing left to destroy. Surely those worlds are cheaper.
They are, but they're also completely uninhabitable. No atmosphere, no water, no resources. You'd be trading one form of death for another.
Not for us. Given time, our bodies would adapt even to vacuum. We'd suffer, yes. Many would die during the transition period, but eventually some of us would survive. Some of us would evolve to breathe whatever gases exist, consume whatever minerals are present. We'd become something new, something monstrous perhaps, but we'd live.
That's horrifying. You're talking about deliberately subjecting your people to conditions that would kill most of them, just for the chance that a fraction might survive?
I'm talking about the only option we have left. But before I consign my people to that fate, I thought I'd try one more thing. I came to see if perhaps the marketplace valued something other than credits.
What else could you possibly offer?
Knowledge. 5,000 years of accumulated science, art, philosophy, medicine. The Thamora were one of the oldest civilizations in this sector. Our biotechnology was unmatched. Our medical treatments could cure diseases your species hasn't even discovered yet. Our agricultural techniques could double crop yields on marginal worlds.
You're offering your entire cultural database?
Everything. Every text, every formula, every discovery, every song. The complete legacy of the Thamora people, in exchange for one world where we might live without destroying everything around us.
Because 40 years ago, someone in my position could have helped my family, could have bent the rules, found a loophole, done something to keep Meridian 4's people together. They didn't. They followed protocols and regulations while a community died.
And you've carried that guilt ever since.
Not guilt exactly, more like unfinished business. I can't save my homeworld. It's too late for that. But maybe I can help save yours.
It won't be our homeworld, not really. It'll be something new, a place we make home through pain and transformation.
All homes are made that way, aren't they? Through effort and sacrifice, and the decision that this place, this specific collection of soil and sky, matters enough to fight for.
You should have been the philosopher, not me. That's a beautiful sentiment.
It's a sentiment my mother used to say. She never stopped believing Meridian 4 was her true home, even when living in a cramped station apartment light years away. Place gets into your blood, she'd say. You can leave, but it never really leaves you.
Then perhaps Corralis 7 will get into our blood, literally, given our biology. Within a generation, we'll carry that world inside us at a cellular level. We'll become the planet, and the planet will become us.
That's either profound or terrifying, possibly both.
Most important truths are, now, I should return to my people. We have preparations to make, 40 million lives to organize, 3 months to transform refugee ships into colony vessels.
Thamora, one question before you go. What will you call your new home? Surely not Corralis 7. That's a corporate designation, soulless and cold.
We've already chosen a name. In our language, it translates roughly to the world of second chances, or more literally, the place where we chose not to die.
That's actually perfect. Defiant, hopeful, honest about the struggle ahead.
We are all of those things now. Thank you, Kael Vorshin. I hope someday I can repay this debt.
If you survive, if you build something lasting on that poisoned rock, that'll be payment enough. Send me word, will you? Let me know how it turns out.
I will. And Kael, perhaps someday when we've made our new world livable, you should visit. See what desperate people can accomplish when given even the smallest chance.
I'd like that. I'd like that very much. Safe journey, Thamora. May your adaptation be swift and your casualties few.
May your conscience rest easier, knowing you chose compassion over compliance. Farewell, friend, until we meet again.
Until we meet again. Computer, delete this conversation from the official logs. Personal override. Authorization Vorshin Alpha 7.
Conversation deleted. No record exists of this transaction.
Good. Some acts of decency should remain invisible. Otherwise, they might expect it to become a habit,
And where would that leave the galaxy's carefully maintained systems of exploitation and controlled suffering?
Query unclear. Please rephrase.
Never mind, just talking to myself, wondering if one good deed balances 40 years of complicity. Probably not, but it's a start. Even small rebellions matter, especially when nobody's watching.
Acknowledged.
Now then, let's see who else needs a planet today. Someone with actual money, preferably. Someone who doesn't question every life choice that brought me to this career. Someone who wants a vacation world with 3 moons and doesn't care who gets displaced to provide it. Back to business as usual.
Incoming call from Prospect ID 7743, requesting consultation for luxury estate purchase.
Of course, because the universe has a sense of humor. Accept the call, and remind me later to check news feeds from Corralis 7, just to see how things turn out, for professional interest only.
Reminder scheduled. Connecting call now.
This is Kael Vorshin, Celestial Estates. How may I help you find your perfect world today?
Does it? I'm directing you to a toxic hellscape where thousands of your people will likely die during the adaptation process. Some helper I am.
You're giving us a choice. That's more than anyone else has offered. On Corralis 7, we live or die by our own biology, our own decisions, not by bureaucratic regulations or market forces or someone else's fear of what we might become.
I need to warn you about something else. The abandoned property doctrine has a provision. If someone challenges your claim within the first year and they can prove they have legitimate ownership interest, they can remove you by force.
Meaning someone could wait until we've settled, until we've adapted to that specific environment, and then evict us when we're most vulnerable?
Exactly. It's happened before. Claim jumpers wait for refugees to do the hard work of making a world marginally livable, then swoop in with legal documents and force them out.
And if that happens, we'd have nowhere to go. We'd be adapted to Corralis 7's specific conditions. Moving again would mean another die-off, another forced evolution.
Yes, so you need to understand, this isn't just a risk, it's a gamble with your entire species as the stakes.
Every option we have is a gamble. At least this one gives us agency. Tell me honestly, Kael, do you think we can succeed?
I think desperate people are capable of incredible things. I think you've already survived your sun exploding. I think if anyone can transform a dead world into a living one, it might be a species that transforms by nature.
But you have doubts.
I have concerns. Corralis 7 wasn't just contaminated, it was deliberately poisoned. The corporations didn't just extract resources, they dumped every banned chemical they could think of. Some of those compounds are designed to be biologically inert, specifically to prevent any form of life from utilizing them.
Our adaptation isn't magic. We acknowledge that. Some of our people won't survive the transition. The young, the old, those with genetic conditions that limit their flexibility, they'll die first. We estimate 30% casualties in the first year alone. 12 million people. You're talking about 12 million deaths so casually, as if they're already gone. Because they are already gone. Not physically, not yet, but the moment our homeworld died, we began dying too. Those 12 million are simply the ones who'll reach the end first. The rest of us are just taking longer.
That's the most depressing thing I've heard in a long time.
Truth often is. But here's another truth. If we do nothing, if we accept the scattered immigration that's been offered, the Thmora cease to exist within 2 generations. Our culture dissolves, our language disappears, our children become members of other societies, carrying fragments of Thmora heritage, like interesting scars, but no longer truly Thmora.
And you think dying on a poisoned planet preserves your culture better?
I think fighting for survival together, sharing the burden of adaptation, watching our bodies transform in response to a common challenge,
That bonds a people. That creates stories worth telling. That gives meaning to the suffering.
You're a philosopher as well as a refugee.
I was a university professor before the supernova. I taught ethics and cultural preservation. Ironic, isn't it? I spent decades theorizing about how societies maintain identity through crisis. Now I get to test my theories firsthand.
What did you teach about cultural preservation?
That cultures survive by adapting to new circumstances while maintaining core values, that physical location matters less than shared purpose, that a people who choose their fate together remain a people even when everything else changes.
And if the core values conflict with survival, what then?
Then you hope you chose the right values to begin with. The Thmora value collective survival above individual comfort. We value adaptation over stagnation. We value the continuation of our lineage over the preservation of our current forms. Corralis 7 aligns with those values.
I'm going to give you the coordinates, but first, I need to know, have you told your people what they're facing? Do they understand what you're committing them to?
There was a vote. I presented 3 options: accept scattered immigration and dissolve as a people, attempt settlement on a barren, lifeless world and suffer catastrophic casualties, or pursue settlement on Corralis 7 with its known toxicity and unknown challenges. 78% chose Corralis 7.
And the other 22%?
Will come with us anyway, because even those who disagreed understand that splitting up means death for everyone. At least together we have collective strength.
That's not democracy. That's tyranny of the majority.
No, that's survival. Democracy is a luxury of stable societies. When you're 3 months from extinction, you make the best choice available and hope history judges you kindly.
History is written by survivors. If this fails, there won't be anyone left to judge.
Then we'd better not fail. Now, those coordinates?
Before I give them to you, one more thing. There's a supply depot on Corralis 7, abandoned like everything else, but it might have useful materials. The access codes were never changed. Typical corporate negligence. I'm sending you the location and codes now.
Why are you doing all this? You've already given us more help than we had any right to expect.
Even if such a trade were possible, I'm just a broker. I don't have the authority to negotiate something like that.
But you have connections. You work with the wealthiest beings in the galaxy. Surely one of them might see value in what we're offering.
The wealthy didn't become wealthy by making charitable deals. They'd want to verify everything, authenticate the knowledge, ensure they were getting value for their investment. That process could take years.
We have 3 months, maybe 4 if we ration aggressively. After that, life support systems begin failing. People start dying, not from lack of a home, but from lack of time.
3 months isn't enough to even begin the verification process, let alone find a suitable world and negotiate a purchase.
Then help me find a different solution. You know this industry. You understand how these transactions work. There must be something, some loophole, some category of world I haven't considered.
There's disputed territories, worlds claimed by multiple parties where ownership is contested. They're usually tied up in legal battles that last decades, sometimes centuries.
Could we settle on one of those worlds while the legal issues resolve?
Technically, maybe, but you'd have no legal protections. If someone won the dispute, they could evict you immediately. And you'd still face the same problem. Your presence would alter the world, and that could trigger environmental protection laws.
Unless the world was already so damaged that our alterations couldn't make it worse.
What are you suggesting?
There must be worlds that corporations have already destroyed. Mining operations that strip-mined entire planets. Industrial zones contaminated beyond habitability. Worlds so thoroughly ruined that no one wants them anymore.
Those worlds do exist. They're classified as ecological disaster zones, completely worthless from a market perspective. But Thmora, think about what you're proposing.
You'd be asking your people to live in toxic wastelands.
We'd adapt. That's what we do. The toxins would become nutrients. The contamination would become our new baseline. Within a generation, we'd transform it into something livable. Not for anyone else, perhaps, but for us.
And in doing so, you'd lock yourselves away from the rest of the galaxy. Your children would evolve into something that couldn't survive anywhere else. You'd become prisoners of your own adaptation.
Better prisoners on solid ground than refugees dying in space. At least we'd have a future, however limited. Can you find us such a world?
There's one. Keralis 7. It was an industrial manufacturing hub about 80 years ago. The corporations extracted every valuable resource, dumped their chemical waste directly into the oceans, and abandoned it when the profits dried up. The atmosphere is 60% methane now. The water is laced with heavy metals. Nothing has lived there for decades. It sounds perfect. What would it cost? Cost? Nobody owns it anymore. The company that destroyed it went bankrupt. The planetary deed is caught in legal limbo, part of an estate dispute that's been unresolved for 40 years. If you could occupy it and establish a presence, you might be able to claim squatters' rights under the abandoned property doctrine.
Squatters' rights. My people, one of the oldest civilizations in known space, reduced to squatters on a poisoned world. There's a bitter poetry in that.
It's not what you deserve. It's not what anyone deserves. But it might be survivable.
Might be. That's more hope than we've had in months. How do we proceed?
Officially, I can't help you. If my company knew I was facilitating an illegal settlement, I'd lose my license, possibly face criminal charges.
And unofficially?
Unofficially, I can provide you with the coordinates. I can tell you that the automated defense systems were deactivated 30 years ago when the maintenance contracts expired. I can mention that there are intact facilities on the surface, abandoned factories and processing plants that could provide shelter.
Why would you risk your career for us? We're strangers. Our problems aren't your responsibility.
Because I grew up on a colony world. Meridian 4. Beautiful place. Crystal blue oceans, purple skies, abundant resources. My parents were among the original settlers. We built something there. A real community.
What happened to it?
A corporation discovered valuable minerals in the planet's core. They bought the land rights from the colonial government. Bought them cheap, actually. Turns out several officials were taking bribes. Within 5 years, the mining operations polluted the water table. 10 years, and the air quality made people sick. 15 years, and the planet was evacuated.
Where did your people go?
Scattered. Refugee ships, temporary housing on station levels, whatever we could afford. My parents used their life savings to buy passage to an inner system world. They worked menial jobs until they died, always talking about going back home someday. But there was no home to return to.
I'm sorry. That's a pain I understand too well now.
That's why I'm in this business, actually. I thought if I understood how planetary acquisitions worked, maybe I could help prevent what happened to Meridian 4 from happening elsewhere. Instead, I became part of the problem. I sell worlds to the wealthy, while people like you, people like my parents, suffer.
You're helping us now. That counts for something.